Hello, hello. So we're going to do another tier list today. This time we're going to switch gears a bit though. I want to do a music tier list about one of my favorite bands actually, Primus. Legendary, alternative sort of funk jam band, metal. They're kind of hard to pin down exactly what kind of genre they are, but they are one of my favorite bands. They're just one of those bands that's kind of they've got a lot of passion for the particular sound that they're trying to go for. They really they are one of those bands that's like probably best seen live as well. They perform really well live, and they just do their thing. They don't try and please people. They just do what they want to do, and usually that ends up being pretty good music. So I really enjoy them. They are very polarizing though, and they're kind of one of those bands that you either love or you hate. I love them though. They're one of my favorite bands for sure. But I only started to really get into them in the last like maybe 4 years or so, because again, I mean, the initial reaction you have when you first sort of hear a Primus song is like, this is really weird, and I don't know if I like it, and it's kind of like the singing is really bizarre. I honestly think, as much as I love Les Claypool, the frontman for Primus, bass player, singer, songwriter, he is very like he can be off-putting to people who are not used to that very like American accent singing. It usually puts people off, especially because I'm from Australia. A lot of people kind of done that really strong American accent we're not really used to, so it's like a bit abrasive almost. But once you sort of get over that and you really just start listening to the band for what they are, they're such a good band, such a talented group of people. Um, awesome, awesome band. So let's get into it. Again, quick disclaimer: don't this is just my opinion. I don't have any authority on any of this. I just really like Primus. I love all their music, and I just want to sort of rank their albums. Don't be put off if I put one of your favorite albums in the bottom tier, or if I rank an album you think is terrible in the top tier. Everyone has their own opinion. It's not objective. Let's get into it. So I'm going to be doing it by release date, and as you can see, I'm also only going to be doing the mainline studio albums. Like, I know they have a couple. There's like Suck on This, which is like a live album, which is really good album. But I've decided I'm only going to do like the mainline studio album releases. So yeah, with that all out of the way, let's start. And I'm going to be doing it in order of release date, so when the album was first released. And I'm also going to make it so it's not just a straight up one per tier ranking. It's going to be just what that album, I feel like what kind of tier that album is. Okay, so first up is Frizzle Fry. Frizzle Fry was released in 1990. So they're pretty much their debut album. Very psychedelic jam band, like alternative metal kind of sound. It's really very like it's very psychedelic focused. I mean, as you can see on the album art, it's a reference to that. This is your brain on drugs kind of thing. So it's a very psychedelic album. It's got some classics on there. It's got John the Fisherman, which is one of their most well-known singles. But it's got some really good sort of not as well-known songs like I really like Spaghetti Western. Spaghetti Western is like this big, just jam song. Like, it's got barely any lyrics. It's mainly just all of them just going off. Like, especially Claypool with that bass line. What else on here? We got Too Many Puppies, Frizzle Fry, Toys Go Winding Down, Pudding Time, Harold of the Rocks. So there's a lot of good songs on here. And because of all of that, I think I'm going to put it at a comfortable A tier. I think the album still holds up really well. I listen to it quite a bit still. It's got that really sort of 90s grunge, but also like a bit of like funk, metal, and like live jam band sound. It's really good. I really enjoy it. It's just one of those albums that you know would sound incredible live. Like I'd love to hear them play just the whole album live. It'd be incredible. So for that reason, I'll put it at A tier. I think it's a really good album, but I think there are some other albums that maybe have surpassed it a little bit. So A tier for now. I might come back and swap these around, but I think A tier is pretty fair for Frizzle Fry. So next up, we have Sailing the Seas of Cheese, which was released the following year, 1991. And this is more of like a kind of this is where Primus starts to go more of like a concept album sort of route. They do that a lot. They love doing concept albums, which I dig it. I like concept albums. I think they're fun. Especially if it's like an interesting out there concept that hasn't really been done before. So I dig it. I dig it a lot. This album, as you can tell by the kind of title, to me, it's like it's a bunch of songs that are a little bit cheesy and corny, because like a lot of the subject matter in these songs are very like, I mean, yeah, the only way I could really think of describing it is like cheesy, but it's good cheesy. It's like a B tier horror movie, like Evil Dead or something. Like that movie is so cheesy and corny, but like people love it. I love Evil Dead. And that's kind of what this album is. It's like a cheesy album, but it's really well done. Like it sounds great. I mean, everyone's playing amazingly on this album, especially Claypool as usual. We've got some classics on here. We've got obviously Jerry was a race car driver. That's another really big hit, and it's for a good reason. It's got that really twangy like sound of the bass throughout most of the verse, and then it's just got that crazy drop that the first time I heard the song I was like, oh wow, I was not expecting that out of this song. It's just this like classic just song you want to mosh to, like just big fucking heavy drop in the chorus. What else we got? We got Tommy the Cat. Tommy the Cat is such a good song. And it's got Tom Waits on it as a feature. The bass is, I'm going to be saying this a lot throughout this whole video, but the bass playing on this song is so good. It's so impressive. Speed and just sound is just incredible. Amazing song. It's a bit of a bit of a storytelling song as well. We've got and some other smaller songs that are not as popular but still great. We've got Sergeant Baker, American Life, Is It Luck, those Damn Blue Collar Tweakers, Fish On, which is again another theme that comes up a lot in Primus's work is fishing, because I know Claypool is a huge fan of fishing, but I'm pretty sure I saw an interview where he mentioned pretty much the whole band fishes. So he was saying that that's like their kind of escape from, I think Claypool described it as, his mind's always kind of going with like creative stuff because he's a very creative guy and he's always thinking about, new things that he can make and play and all of that. So fishing is like his way of just like turning that off and just sort of relaxing. So he's got a lot of references to fishing in a lot of his records. And I mean, this album, again, Sailing the Seas of Cheese, like boats, fishing, sea captains, sea shanties, that stuff always comes up pretty regularly in Primus records. But yeah, I mean, this album is great. It's more of a concept piece. It's got some just general, pretty popular hits on it too. It's one of their probably most well-known albums, I feel. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a great album. I think for me though, I need to be careful about this because even just for the fact that it's got Tommy the Cat and Jerry was a race car driver, like makes me want to put it in A tier. But like I don't know if I would actually put it right on par with Frizzle Fry, because I feel like Frizzle Fry is the better album. So by that logic, I think I will have to put Seas of Cheese at B. But I think it would be closer to like a B plus B minus. I mean, sorry, B plus A minus. Um, it's very very good album. Don't get me wrong. I just if I'm ranking Frizzle Fry at an A, I don't think I could logically put Seas of Cheese at the same tier as Frizzle Fry. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. It's still a great album. I mean, there's some insane songs on Seas of Cheese. So moving on, Pork Soda. Pork Soda is actually probably. I would actually say that Pork Soda is my favorite Primus album. And for many reasons, which I'll go into. But Pork Soda came out in 1993. It's another app's definite concept piece. It's going for this very particular vibe and feel about the album. I mean, again, in an interview, Claypool explained that Pork Soda is like, it's like imagine if that was a real soda, it'd be such a very much not for everyone, very calorie dense, rich soda that it would be very kind of, not very popular, but people who probably did like it would like it a lot. And he sort of used that as a parallel for Primus themselves because they are a very polarizing sound, and some people hate them, some people love them. And I think that's absolutely what you're getting with this album. It is I want to come out and say that it is a very dark album, in my opinion. It's got a lot of really dark tones and subject matter, and it's very like feels like you're moving through sludge, and it's one of those kind of albums that you kind of feel a little bit dirty listening to it. But it's great. I love it. I think they did that really well. There's a few. Let's see. There's one, two, three. There's like four short interlude kind of songs just to kind of like keep that vibe going for the album. But it's a 15 track album, so the other 11 songs are all great. I think they're all great songs. But yeah, I mean, I would describe this the way the concept that they've gone for is kind of almost like the way I would describe it is if Texas Chainsaw Massacre had like a an alternative metal funk album like for the movie, then this would be it. It has that really just gritty, grimy, dark vibe to the whole album, and I love it. Some of the subject matter is really, really intense. Like there's, murder, suicide, racism, stereotypes, like just American life in general, like American stereotypes. Yeah, it's got some pretty heavy stuff on it, but it's really good. It's very, very good. In terms of like big hits, it's got My Name Is Mud, which is probably their biggest hit of all, I would say. Their biggest well-known song is My Name Is Mud, and for good reason. It is a good song. Like it's probably, I mean, it was the first Primus song I ever heard, and it's what got me interested in them because it's just so good. It's like this just heavy chugging, just menacing bass, and it just sounds so good. It's like this just booming like bass line that's just, I love it. It's so good. It's got a story to it as well, which is fun. Welcome to This World's a nice little sort of not so well known but good song. Bob is like one of my favorite songs on that album. Actually, again it's much more of a slow paced song, but it's got some intense themes in it. And it's just a really good song. I really like that song. DMV, another just incredible bass line, very well known song. Old Diamondback Sturgeon, one of my favorite songs on the album as well. It's again, it's about fishing. It's a bit more of a light-hearted song, but it's so cool. Like I love the melody to that song. It's just so good, and the drums it's fun to play on drums. Like it's just a constant sort of roll around the kit. So I love it for that. Nature Boy, fun song as well. Wounded Knee is a cool little interlude. Again, pushes that theme home and keeps that vibe of the album going. Pork Soda is like a funny song. I would say it's just funny to listen to Claypool just just do his thing with his like accent, and he's like really sort of fast talking, and just he's trying to paint this picture of like, I don't know, like a really stereotypical like Southern American guy, and it's really funny to me. I don't know. The Pressman, very good song as well. It's like a bit of more of a jam song. Mr. Crinkle, very well known song as well on this album for good reason. I mean, the video clip's very well known. It's like that one shot take where Claypool's in that pig costume and he's got that giant cello and he's killing it with it. Sounds awesome. Area's Getting Slippery. More of just a vibe song for the album, but it's fun. Hamburger Train is like their big jam ender. Like it's just a big jam song. It's got like no lyrics. It's just like a 10-minute jam, and it's awesome. And then the other two at the end, Pork Chop's Little Ditty, Hail Santa, are just vibe songs. They're just like creepy little like interludes to end the album. And you know, overall, again, I think this album's really good. It's definitely one of their least accessible. Actually, I don't know now that I say that, because I mean, it's got probably their most well-known song of all time in it, like "My Name Is Mud." Um, but I think even with that, I think people will be turned off by the theming, and the sound is very like, if you're not used to it, then you won't. I think you'll probably stay away from listening to the whole album. You probably just listen to like one or two songs from it. But I personally am going to put it at S tier. I think it's great. I think it's a great album, and I love it. So I'm going to put it at S tier. Moving on, 1996, Tales from the Punch Bowl. This one's more of a. I think they're going back with Punch Bowl. They kind of tried to go back to more of the sound of Frizzle Fry. It's more of like a jam band, like psychedelic album, which again just makes me feel like it's kind of a sequel to Frizzle Fry, with Pork Soda and Seas of Cheese being more concept albums, and you know Frizzle Fry and Tales from the Punch Bowl being more like just straight up jam band psychedelic rock albums. Um, and it's got some big beats on it. Got some big well-known songs on it. Wyona's Big Brown Beaver is probably their most well-known one of all as well, for at least from that album. It's right up there with Jerry Was a Race Car Driver, My Name Is Mud, all of that. I think the first half of the album is like amazing. I think pretty much the first half of the album is like an S tier. It kind of I feel like there's a little bit of filler in the second half of the album, but then you've got that another big jam ending song, Over the Electric Grapevine, which is awesome, like amazing song. There's a couple of those actually, because Professor Nutter Butter, the opener, is a big jam song as well at the start, and I love it too. Mrs. Blaylene is like a nice little dark sort of chugging sort of song. It's good, as got some storytelling in it. Wyona's Big Brown Beaver is just a big fun song. It's got this like twangy bass, and it sounds like you're a cowboy. But it just works. It's awesome. Southbound Pachyderm, very psychedelic sort of slow sort of song. Hellbound is just a fun little sort of psychedelic song as well. Yeah, I mean, again, I think there's probably like bang on half the album is like A to S tier, but then the rest is kind of like fillery. It's not bad, but it's just not incredible. For that reason, I'm probably going to put Tales from the Punch Bowl on par with Seas of Cheese. I think they're both about a B plus. Good album. I still love Tales from the Punch Bowl. It's still a really good album, but compared to Pork Soda and Frizzle Fry, yeah, not quite up there. So moving on. Oops, daisy. Wrong thing. So we've got Brown Album, 1998. I mean, the thing is, right, is with this album, I stayed away from it for ages. Not for any particular reason, just because like the name is so unappealing. And I feel like that was intentional, but it actually like made me not want to listen to it just because the album name is just so like the Brown album, really. Like it's so like not, exciting. Like, I mean, it's just not. And even the cover is so like bland looking. But when I actually listened to it, it was great. It's a great album. Like, it's got some really good songs in it, and it's one of those albums that you definitely want to listen to the whole thing in a row. Like, it's like a full album experience. And it actually kind of feels very similar to Pork Soda. It's a very like it's kind of got like that almost like a folk, like funky folk kind of vibe to it. It's Yeah, it's got some great songs on it. I mean, like big ones, obviously, Shake Hands with Beef, just this big, again, chugging bass beat that's just amazing. So such a good song. Um, Pudding Tane, Puddin' Tane is a very fun song, one of my favorites on here actually. It's just like this, just I don't know, again, like just this the fun, twangy, like funny kind of lyrics song. That's another thing I should mention is that Primus really likes to put a lot of comedy in their music, and it works really well. I really enjoy it. I think a lot of their lyrics and themes that they go for are very tongue in cheek and self aware, and it's really funny. I enjoy it. It's great. Um, Bob's Party Time Lounge, very fun song as well. I love the main sort of hook on that song, like it's just really good. Um, Most of the songs on this album are great. I mean, Fisticuffs, Golden Boy, Over the Falls. Over the Falls is really good as well. It's a nice little chill song with a good hook. Stood by and waited to be called. Um, Camelback Cinema, good song. Hats Off, Puddin' Tane, Bob's Party Time Lounge, Duchess of the Proverbial Mind Spread. Pretty much the whole album. Rest of My Bones, Cottingtown, Kalamazoo. I'd say the last four songs of the album I'm kind of indifferent to, but most of the album's pretty damn good. Um, for that reason, again, I think I'm gonna put this at a comfortable B tier. Um, it's a great album. I listen to it pretty regularly, but Frizzle Fry Pork Soda still better than Brown Album for sure. I'd probably put Brown Album at like B, and then Tails and Cheese at like B plus or A minus. Um, so moving on, we have Antipop, 1999. So Antipop, I have a little bit to say about this album. I think it's a very ironic name for the album because it's like, I mean, obviously by the name they were trying to go for something anti-pop at the time, and I mean during 1999 that would have been like, I mean I was born in 1995, but if I'm remembering back, late 90s, early 2000s was pop punk was like really big at the time. Pop rock, pop punk, um, just like I guess, oh God, I mean, this is not my music genre, but I'm trying to think of how to describe it. Like stuff like, like Britney Spears and like that kind of tier of music, like that kind of stuff was really popular at that time. Boy bands as well. So obviously they were trying to go really obviously against the grain with this album, but to me, this actually feels like one of their most like sort of safe sounding albums out of all of the albums that they have. I feel like this is the most kind of just like mainstream sounding, like alternative rock 90s sound. Um, I mean, the thing that surprised me the most is this album has some insane collaborations on it. It's got some like really high tier people on it, like Stuart Copeland of The Police, Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine, and Audio Slave. There's heaps of others. There's like five or six big names that sort of collabed on this album. And I mean, the album's good. I don't think it's a bad album, but it's definitely one of their not as good albums. Like compared to everything else they've done, it's definitely one of their weakest. I mean, it's got Lacquerhead, which is like their big single from that album. That's pretty good, but it's definitely not my favorite song on that album. I would say I'm trying to like actually pick something out. I mean, the album is I liked it's again, it's an album I like to listen to entirely in a row because it feels like it's just one big jam song. But I actually probably my favorite song on the album is The Heckler, which is on the album it's Coattails of a Dead Man and The Heckler are one song. So The Heckler's literally the last song of the album, and you have to listen to the other half of the song to hear it. But it's probably my favorite song of the album. It's very like Frizzle Fry era, like just fun, psychedelic jam band song, comedy bits in it as well. Um, I mean, yeah, Electric Uncle Sam, very, very mainstream alternative rock sounding song. Natural Joe, um, yeah, yeah, it's not bad. Blackhead's pretty decent. Antipop is very, it's like it's not bad, but it's like very middle ground for me. I mean, yeah, Dirty Drowning Man's okay. Yeah, I mean it's okay. It's an okay album. It's not bad. It's not great, and for that reason, I'm gonna put it at C. It's very like like I could very much take or leave this album. Moving on, so there was actually a big hiatus from Primus. So after Antipop in 1999, they took a bit of a break, and during this time, Les Claypool pretty much just did a bunch of side projects, like Oysterhead. He did the Lennon Claypool Delirium, Les Claypool's Flying Frog Brigade. Um, what is it called? Colonel Claypool's Bucket of Bernie Brains. And then he did two solo albums, so just Les Claypool albums of Fungi and Foe and of Whales and Woe. And all of that was actually really good. I might even do like a separate tier list of just Les Claypool side projects because those are all actually really good, and I would rank some of those side projects higher than some of the mainstream Primus albums. But yeah, so they took a big break for a while. They came back in 2011. So it was a 12-year hiatus between Antipop and this next album. In 2011, they released Green Naugahyde, which is it's a good album. It's kind of a bit of a meld of like a lot of their sounds from their other albums. Like, let me try and think. Probably it's like bit of Pork Soda, bit of Tales from the Punch Bowl, bit of cheese. It's a bit of everything. It's a bit of a multifaceted album. But it's got some really like good songs on it. Like Hennepin Crawler has got this just it's got this just really good like hook with its like bass and guitar lines. The drumming on this album is really good as well. The drummer really stepped it up in Green Naugahyde. Um, Last Salmon Man, Eternal Consumption Engine, Tragedies Are Coming. Jilly's on Smack is a very like dark sort of like just it's got this very deep like cello playing it throughout it all. It might be a standing bass actually. I'm not sure. I play drums, so I don't play any like string instruments, so I could be wrong there. Lee Van Cleef, More on TV, Green Ranger, Extinction Burst. It's got a lot of dark themes in it, and it's got this very like boppin' cowboy funk like sound. It's pretty interesting sound actually. I would say it's pretty good. It was a very good comeback album for Primus. They sort of came back and were like, hey, we still like to make music, and we're not actually shit at it any either. Like we can actually still make good music. And I'd put it at a comfortable B tier. It's a good album. I think it was a good return for them. Moving on. We are up to oops, sorry. We are up to 2014. So 3 years after Green Naugahyde, they released a concept cover album called Primus and the Chocolate Factory with the Fungi Ensemble. So this album, in fact, these last two albums right here are just, they went full psychedelic, like acid shrooms, like jam, just songs, like the albums. They're both very heady psychedelic songs. Like, I mean, albums. I keep saying that. And they're both strong concept albums. Like they're not like a stand. They're almost like, I would almost separate them from the rest of these albums because they are very like, we're trying to do a specific thing, and it's not exactly the normal Primus sound. It's we're going for like a storytelling or a concept piece solely. So with Primus and the Chocolate Factory, as you can tell, they decided that they were going to do covers of all the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory songs. Obviously, Claypool was referencing the original Gene Wilder Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the superior one, and he sort of talks about the fact that he found the movie quite dark, and like it's actually quite a creepy dark movie when you look back on it, especially for kids. And I would agree. I mean, people die in that movie, I'm pretty sure, and like the whole vibe of the Chocolate Factory is a little bit off, and just it's kind of a tripper movie as well. It's very like trippy and weird and psychedelic and out there. So they decided to do a bunch of covers. So I mean, if you know the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory soundtrack, you'll know what songs are on here. And they didn't just do like straight up note for note covers. They really did try and make it their own. And it's a very dark album as well. It's got this just tone and feel about it that you listen to it, and it's very oppressive. It's like you feel like you're just constantly on edge, which is weird that they went for that for something that's supposed to be a psychedelic album. Like I feel like I would not want to listen to this while under the influence of psychedelic drugs because it would be fucking creepy as. So it's a good album though. It's fun. It's a fun album. It's not something that you just chuck on. Like, I mean, Candyman is like a kind of like song on there that you could probably listen to just on its own. But it's very much like you listen to the whole album for the experience of it. It's not like you just pick and choose a couple songs to listen to here and there. For the effort though, I think it was well done for a concept piece. I'll give it a B tier, but like probably more like a B minus tier. Um, yeah, I mean we're on to our final album now, which came out in 2017. So the Desaturating Seven. This album is a bit of an like anomaly. It's very weird and very like, I mean, Claypool based. So there's a book called, I believe, The Desaturating Seven by an artist who did like it's a children's book with like some really cool art in it. And it's about the it's about these goblins that are all each a color of the rainbow, and they go and hunt down rainbows when they appear and like catch them with lassos and then fill their buckets with the colors that they all are and then drink all the colors. So they're like greedy goblins that eat rainbows. And yeah, that is a very, on paper, very psychedelic, weird, trippy story. And it's a kid's story. It's got some really cool art as well, the children's book. And Claypool, I think, said that he used to read this to his kids. And he just decided, I'm going to do a soundtrack for this. So it's a very short album. It's only got 7 songs, and the first and last song are very much just interlude, like filler sort of pieces. But the rest of the album is really good. I actually really like this album. Some people think it's a bit boring and a bit slow, but I think it really hits really well with what they were trying to do. They were trying to do a really psychedelic, heady, just experience album, and especially if you watch the video clips that they made for this, like the visualizers that they have on their YouTube that go for every song. It's such a trippy album. Like, it's very trippy, but it's also got some great bass work. Like, and I mean, the concept they went for is they wanted it to sound like goblin rock. So, like, as if goblins were actually picking up instruments and trying to play like some rock music. And it absolutely sounds like that. Like, it literally, if you just close your eyes and think about it, like, you could totally imagine these goblins like dancing around, like playing their instruments and singing this song, because it's very much that's what it sounds like. It's a very fun album, and it's got some great. I mean, some of the bass lines in this are very good, right up there. It's very funky, very groovy. Like, it's great. I love it, and for that reason, I'd actually put it at an A tier. I would actually put this at an A tier, even though it's a concept piece. So yeah, I mean, there you have it. That's just what I think. That's what I say. I know I put a lot of albums at B. So maybe I'll have a quick look over this and see if I want to move anything around. You know what? I think actually Frizzle Fry deserves to be at S tier now that I am looking at it, and yeah, that looks that looks better having that at A. I think, yeah, you know what? we're doing we're changing it up a bit. I think that's actually more suited to what I meant, because I did say that these two were more of an A minus. That looks a lot better to me now. Now that I know I mean, all my explanations for what I've said previously about the album still apply, but I think maybe this is more what I meant when I was ranking them, because I did say, yeah, this was more of an A minus, this was more of an A minus, this was like a B plus, da 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 da. But I think this is much better. This makes much more sense in my head. So, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I will probably again make another tier list soon. I'm thinking I might do more music related stuff, so we'll see what I can think of for that one. But thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. It's free to subscribe. You know, you can change your mind if you don't want to stay subscribed, but I do plan to release more videos soon. So if you enjoy my content, please do subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. So yeah, thanks so much, guys, for watching, and I will see you next time.